So today I'm virtually attending a Zoom meeting and on orchids. And so I'm in my plant room and I'm using it as a chance to go over some of my orchids and see how they are. And I found this Owanagara apple blossom looking pretty sickly, and you can see that it is completely covered in scale. So I've been using Marathon on my plants over the winter because it's granular and I can just add it to the pots. But quite clearly it has not stopped the scale infestation on, this is like powdery scale. It's just everywhere on this apple blossom, which I don't even know if I can save at this point. And in fact, I just heard a talk about triage and saving orchids, where the speaker basically said that if an orchid was too far gone, don't triage it, just throw it out and get a new one. So that might have to happen with this orchid. But first I'm going to attempt to wash the scale off, and I'm going to scrub all the little scale pests off with the toothbrush. I take a soft toothbrush and I get it wet, and then I scrub along the leaves and pseudobulbs of the Cattleya everywhere where I can see scale. The upside of this technique is that it uses no chemicals. There's no insecticide, it's mechanical removal. The downside is that it takes a long time. So between each scrubbing, I wash the scale off the toothbrush under the running faucet, and then I turn the Cattleya and basically eyeball it to see if there's more scale in another location. So it takes a long time to do this because I have to basically keep turning and looking and scrubbing until I don't see any more scale. It's very labor intensive, and if it wasn't for COVID and I was home more, I wouldn't have the time to do this. And that's why I usually try to use a systematic insecticide in the summer. So it took over 10 minutes of scrubbing before I felt like I couldn't see any more scale and that this Cattleya was clean enough to put back in my collection. Now I'm getting old and my vision isn't as good, so it's possible that there is still scale on this plant that I didn't see. And so I'll have to keep checking on it to see if it still has an infestation. All right, this is the Owanagara apple blossom after I finished cleaning it. I've put it at the very bottom on the floor in pinto eating range. But this way, if it develops more scale and scale falls off the plant, it won't fall on any of my other orchids because that's how gravity works. Things fall down. And also going over my shelf, I found this. This is Melinda Rose Funk Weber Douglas. And this was actually on the radiator in my son's room. And I saw it and it looked really dry, and I brought it into my growing area. And I just don't think it's gonna make it. So I think this will now be leaving my collection for the compost pile. It's just, you can see it's really, really dry. And I just don't think it's really large. I don't really want something this big in my collection, and I'm not gonna spend the effort to try to save it. So the orchid conference is over, but apparently Pinto is now gonna take the chance to nibble at my orchids. So I thought I would show a few blooming orchids. This is Dendrobium Little Atro, just opening up. I got this last year from H&R Nurseries. This is Potinara Dick Smith, just opening up. I got lots of stuff that isn't really open yet. I have, this is Ascocentrum ampulaceum, if I'm saying that correctly. It has a lot of spikes. So it has one that's open. You can see another one right here that's forming right there. Then it has, see, buds embedded in this Spanish moss right over on this side. It does really well for the fact that basically through all of December, I don't water it because I don't have any time and it's cold in my growing area. Back there is, what was it? Orange Passion Petite Prince. Over back there, too much trouble to get it out. I still have some Kingianum hybrids blooming. On the table, which I've set aside, this is Dendrobium Senator Maxim finishing up. In my tray of Cataleas off of the Sunset Valley Orchid 2021 Cattleya list, I had a surprise. So this is the Aurantiaca cross that he had for sale, and it was supposed to be very spotty, and it is very, very spotty. Look at that. Look at all the spots on that. That's pretty cool. And then I have Potinara pumpkin here. And this right here, this little thing that's just opening up, is Lalocattleya Magic Bell Peach Parfait. This is the first time it's ever bloomed for me. So this right here, this sheath was like an empty sheath. So this will be the first bloom. I don't actually know what this looks like. It's very exciting, like just sort of opening up, but it's sitting next to my pumpkin, which is nicely open and been open for maybe a couple of weeks. Then I don't know if I showed this, my last blooming update. This is Cattleya nobilior. And then let me see. I have Dendrobium aphyllum here that's blooming. This is one of those deciduous dendrobiums that needs a winter rest. And the way I grow it is that I don't water it. So I try to keep my growing area really, really humid. If it wasn't this humid, then I would probably give it just a little bit of a spray once a week in this moss base that I have here on the mount. But you can, and it totally responds to that. Basically, it stays really cool. I hang it near the windows during the winter, so it can be as cool as possible. And then, Pinto, what are you doing? He looks like he's trying to eat something. So then, I was hoping my Cattleya aurantiaca would make it to the next Chicago Judging Center meeting, but it looks like not, because it's already opening up. Can we even? No, we can't. It's this. It's too dark. Here. See those in the light. And that, I still have some dendrobiums blooming. My Hawaiian leopard mayling still has 2 flowers. The other 2 have faded out. And my yellow Dendrochilum wenzelii from H&R that I got last year to replace the one that I killed, basically because I didn't water it enough, is also blooming. So this is tiny compared to how big wenzeliis normally are. So let me see if I can get it out. I don't know if I can get it out. So see, there's my hand. So you can see it's not that big a plant. And it's blooming. So I'm very happy that it's blooming. I have a bunch of Oncidium types coming into bloom. I think that's a hybrid right there. Like gilded urchin, I believe. And then I have some kind of Oncidium odontoglossum hybrid back there. I can't reach, I don't have my ladder out. I'm spiking some big sphaceledum spikes way up there. So then I have one last bloomer in here, and this is my Myrmecophili wendelii. You don't see this, I don't see this in people's collections. And I feel very lucky to have gotten a division of this from a member of the iOS. And I believe he got it from the Lincoln Park Conservatory. They were dividing their wendelii. And so there were originally 3 divisions of this, and 2 of them went to the iOS for our annual auction, but I don't know where they've gone. I don't think I've ever seen them show up at the auction, but I kept this piece. So that is my, oh wait, I forgot. And here's my coconut orchid. This is Maxillaria tenuifolia blooming. And it's planted in moss, and I try to keep it as wet as possible because it wants a lot of water in order to bloom. But you can see that I have trouble keeping my bulbs as firm as possible because I have some wrinkly bulbs in the back there, but the newer ones are nice and fat. So those are the blooming orchid updates after I dealt with the scale that I found in my collection today.